First, I would like to congratulate you on the strides that you are making, uh, particularly stimulating certain sector, with a view to garnering some foreign exchange earning. Because I'll tell you a few things you've done, particularly on the creative and entertainment industry. Your initiative now, the full benefit of it, we can only best imagine in a few years to come. Already, Nigerian films are watched virtually everywhere in the world, with little or no support from institutional bodies like yours. So you can now imagine if you put your weight behind their own effort, they'll be far more structured. Then the revenue that will accrue from that effort will better impact on the economy than the process through which they are going now. And I must commend you on the ECOWAS trade initiative, which is, I think, a good thing. You'll be breaking a long-established barrier if we all can put us together and ensure that. On our part in Infrastructure Bank, we were known as Urban Development Bank in the past, then owned mostly by government, just like you were. The intention was to, facilitate the development of infrastructure across the country. It was highly capitalized at that time, but effort were anticipated more on trying to study and join study groups on the environment and all that, and very little was achieved on concrete infrastructure development. And as it were with many Nigerian institutions, I'm sure when you got to NEXIM, you probably met your own challenges too. The institution wasn't doing as the forefathers had anticipated. So the challenges led to some concerned private individuals, who thought that this particular institution can do far more. And they did a proposal, and government accepted the proposal, and thus creating a slight alteration of the ownership structure in a way that the private sector now have control in shares. Of course, governments still have their own holdings, and the 3/3 of government are actually represented on the board because they all have proportional voting. And labor movement, they also have a seat on the board because of their holding. But since the private sector came, we've been trying to redirect the bank, redevelop a new business model, consult ourselves with an architecture that can drive the business model that we've seen. And the conclusion is that there is a whole lot of things, an opportunity within the infrastructure space in Nigeria. Tremendous, because even the failure of the successive governments in Nigeria is creation of additional opportunities for the infrastructure, business. If you look at the transport infrastructure, of which the one you mentioned, maritime, is one, there is a huge potential there. Road network is inadequate, the one that is in existence is in deplorable condition. The airports are inadequate, the ones that are in existence are in deplorable condition. The water system is something else, and a regional, a country like Nigeria, there should be a regional hub. Even see people preferring to go to Ghana because they say that we are not ready or we don't mess up all the opportunities. So there's a huge potential. So, and for us, we have repositioned the bank. It's an attempt to that repositioning that we said perhaps we should be known for the business that we do instead of the ambiguous urban development bank. What do we develop in the urban area? Our concern is infrastructure. And is infrastructure limited to urban area? No, it's everywhere. So we said, let the bank be called the infrastructure bank. And since then, in our own quiet moment, we've been rejigging the infrastructure space. And we're glad, I'm sure it's in recognition of that our role that you have come today. And I'm glad you are also using our own methodology, because what we have decided to do is that you can't make any meaningful impact when all you do is to write proposal to government and say let them do ABCD. They either don't read it, when they read it, they don't understand the content, or when they do understand, they're too busy doing other things that nothing can happen. So we've said that the core focus of our business model is actually trying to attract private capital and private initiative to impact on projects. So basically any project that we're going to handle will have to follow project finance methodology. And the project finance methodology puts a lot of emphasis on private capital and private initiative. So it means that you won't even go into a project if there is no exit to it. You won't. And we've kidded ourselves for too long in the country. We play with power, spend so much money, because nobody ever thought of, okay, how do we get money out of here? So it becomes, it's like traditional budgeting. Just make sure you finish your budget and no accountability. So, and because there's no accountability, tons and tons of millions of dollars get sunk into projects. We don't get value, nobody get prosecuted. So for us as a bank, we've said project that will interest us must have an exit, so that it can appeal to private capital. Because if it doesn't have an exit, then it's suited for government. But the era when government keeps spending without getting anything is also over. Because does government have limitless pool of resources? No. So we're quite delighted that you have chosen that methodology. Creating an SPV is a methodology that you can have somebody accountable for every call. Now, whether or not you created a bankability around the SPV is something that we might have to examine. But for us, the first thing is that ideas, no matter how beautiful, has to be made bankable. When it's bankable, that's why it is worthy of your kobo. And that is when it is worthy of any investor's kobo. Because one is bankable, they can see a clear entrance and a clear exit, and the security of the promised return, in addition to the comfort of the security of their own capital. So for us, those are things we do. So if you ask me, that's a fantastic idea. We would love to know at what points you want us to play a role. And next time we are thinking, instead of going to FBA Capital, we are here. It's even our job. We do financial advisory. We do, financial arranging. Right now, you maybe probably have read in the paper today that she's referring to Osun State. We work with them because they have limited resources, but they have a lot of infrastructure to do. We facilitated a contractor finance based on promissory note from the state. So they can have a road in the next 24 months and pay over, another 36 months later. But the road will be ready. Because part of our problem in Nigeria is that a best example I always cite is the Abuja-Lokoja road. It's how many years old now? Close to 10 years. Yes. It's a budget. We are very good at budgeting. The first year they will put like 25% advance payment. Just bring your APG, you get it. Because there are so many people involved. So the contractor gets that one, mobilized to site. When that one finished, next year budget, there's no money. So contractor is mobilized to site, he doesn't have money to work, and it has been like that for the past 10 years. But you see this this Abuja Airport road and the northern outlet there. Why are they working there? It's semblance of project finance. Somebody was smart enough that, this one will not be delivered though. And don't forget, the airport road was supposed to mark, our 50th year independence. So somebody said, no, we can't do budgetary. We will do bond. So contractor will give you FGM bond, you go and discount it. And that's why they are working, even though not to budget and not to time. But it's faster than the Abuja-Lokoja one. People have been dying there. In fact, between Bagalada and Kotokarfi, I don't know. Even that one killed more than Boko Haram. Because in a day, you can hear of 20, 30, and it's a daily thing. There are some that are not even reported. Because if the people there are not too important, nobody knows. So that's project finance for you.
Yes.
And that's what we do. So you go far to go to ABN Capital, well, there's no problem. And I'm sure next time you are thinking of a project like this, you know, we pride ourselves in making the projects, first of all, bankable. Because as you are thinking, we'll be thinking with you. And like we're doing with even Niger Data Ministry now. And I'm sure the minister has been saying so much about it in the press of late. If you don't do project financing, you will just be at the mercy of budget. And budget is political. So every year you battle at the ministry level, at the Federal Executive Council level, then at the National Assembly, who don't even care about where you're coming. But when you have a project finance orientation, you can finish your project even before you start. So that's what we do here, and we'll be glad to work with you on several other initiatives like that. The hotel infrastructure, I tell you, I work with NEXIM when they started this. There's called Conta, and I'm sure it's a replica of that you are doing that in Nigeria. So we'll be glad to work with you. See, in fact, what I'll tell you is that as your clients engages with you, do engage with us too, so that we can assist even from the beginning. Because unlike you, I don't play so much of balance sheet game. We will rather want to see how project ideas can be converted to bankability. And the moment you make it bankable, then everybody will buy into it. You see, Kentucky chicken, fried, what do they call it? Tasty fried. All we're eating is chicken though.
Yes.
It's the ingredients, the way the chickens are made that will make the difference.
Yes.
So we all do advisory services, but some people know it better. We think about projects. I don't think about capital market, money market, this. I think about project. So we are able to dissect the problem and put it together in a way, because we think of who will fund it. Is it local? Is it international? What would they ask for? What are the risks? What are this and that? Ahead of time. So we are able to help you, process it, much better. That by the time we are done with it, you fly it like this. Now you will see how many banks that will jump at it. Yeah, because we make it bankable. On your power, particularly the company that you said you funded power, and I want to believe that is captive power. So the transmission is within a short period, short location. So these are some of the things we like to work on, because providing the infrastructure around, I'm sure essentially they are not a power manufacturing company,
no, they are not.
but they find themselves producing power as a solution to their own main production. So we can do that, and we can elevate that even beyond the domestic economy. Once it's bankable. My own take about funding projects is this: if a fish is golden, if you put it in a murky water, it will still shine. And the smart one will look at it and say, yes, that's a golden fish. If a project is nice and good, it doesn't matter. Even Russia will invest in it. South Korea will, even North Korea will meet with South Korea investing on the same project. Once it is nice,
yes,
because everybody is looking for return.
Yeah.
So we will be glad to look at this with you and see what might be the area of need. And I will commend you for having committed about $7 million to that kind of a project. Was having a very, very good project to you. So we'll be glad to look at it. I would say, overall, it's a good idea that you have decided. I remember we talked about this when I newly resumed here in late 2010. And we're committed to working together. Yours is basically to stimulate export or anything that can have an export content. You could see, America Exim Bank, they go in every nook and crannies because they know to stimulate employment and generate income, you need to keep the factories in America working. Now, and that's their philosophy. It doesn't matter what it takes them, what they want to see in each of the states in America, that Americans are working. Now, and the barrier to exportation, they are helping them to mitigate against those risks there, and that's your job. So we'll be glad to provide, the skill set that can make, whatever structures that we want to, put in place for those factories and industries to thrive. We'll be glad to provide it. And then we have the skill set, like I said. Many of the people you see here, even if they had worked in commercial bank before, they've forgotten about deposit. So all they think about is projects, and we can bring that to bear in our cooperation. So once again, I want to thank you for taking the time to come around. I want to assure you of readiness to work with you, to deploy resources. In any case, that's all we know how to do. The only thing is that you pay us, it's not a government bank, so we have to pay our salary. But I think you will get value for money at all times. And it's not all the time that I also ask for money, because we can also build together to see, once we can see benefit down the line, we're ready to also invest some intellectual capital into the project. Thank you very much.
Thank you, my brother. It's very heartwarming, that we have this meeting, and let me commend you for the good strike of the government, turning the Urban Development Bank, into something else. Just the infrastructure bank is a very good innovation, and Nigerians are beginning to see, the benefits of what you are doing. We seem to be in the same situation. We are owned by the federal government, but we have a commercial orientation because we have two shareholders, that put in equity in the bank, and we need to pay them a return. That is the central bank and the Federal Ministry of Finance. We don't have any money coming directly from the Federation account. So even though we know that we're a government institution, we believe that we have a commercial, orientation. The same transformation that is going on in your institution is the same. I just came 1 year earlier than you. I came in 2009. You came in 2010. We met a bank that was almost gone, right? Had huge non-performing accounts. He had no money to operate, because I think the shareholders lost faith in the bank, let me put it that way.
Investors fatigue.
Yes. And we also saw that as a development finance institution, a lot of projects were being turned down, which wasn't good enough. So we said, let us have a clear roadmap, 5-year clear roadmap. We are supposed to deepen the non-oil sectors. The non-oil sectors are so many. And looking at the paucity of funds, we can't intervene in all of them. So we decided to look at those ones that have very high growth potentials in terms of job creation and foreign exchange generation. So we're looking at manufacturing, agriculture, solid minerals, and services. And maybe because we have a similar background as an investment banker, I saw that it will not be very good for Nigerian, project promoters, that they bring a project to us that we believe is not bankable, and we don't assist them to make it bankable. Because my role as an Exim bank is to ensure that continuously there's a credit flow to the export sector. It doesn't matter whether it's coming from NEXIM or it's coming from infrastructure, or it's coming from any commercial bank. But my role is to ensure that continuously there's a credit flow, to the export sector. So we decided that there was need for us to have a financial advisory services department. when these people come, even if we cannot intervene, we will assist them to put it properly. Because the problem of the SMEs is how they can come with the bankable proposal. That's the major problem. So we are doing that, and we hope that we should be able to work closely with you. We didn't know that you had that. Maybe we would have given it to you, but we didn't want to do it ourselves because of corporate governance issues.
Oh yeah.
Yes, and we go into project financing that are just bankable, even though we're in DFI. We must be able to see through a clear cash flow generation in any project. That is this project capable of generating the required cash flow to pay back itself? If we see that, in terms of exit window, we ensure, and we are trying to work. It's just that the capital market is a bit, because one of the things we'll be trying to do is, if we finance you today and you have grown to a certain level, we should be able to get you listed, so that your sources of funding will be reduced. Just divest a little and then allow other people to come in. Because we are trying to run away from Oya and Sons, Limited. When they just say Bamali and Sons. Bamali and Sons can never work again. Can never work. Because everything on the private sector building, and we must see clear cash flow, the projects bankable. So that is what we do, because right now we have started paying dividends to our shareholders. At least we have paid dividends for our performance of 2010 to our shareholders, and we want to continue doing that. So that they too will be very comfortable. And as the Trade Policy Bank of Nigeria, looking at the huge potentials, and again the demographic, the benefits that we have, we believe we should rely less on the government. We want to get the bank rated. We want to go out there and attract commercial lines of credit based on our own strength, and not based on looking up to government every time to give us. Of course, as a DFI, there are some kind of intervention funds that we can be given to develop some particular sectors that have very high potentials, that we can go in, decrease it, to make it attractive commercial banks, to come in. As soon as they come in, maybe we can ease up. But like you said, we will engage you at the level of project appraisers. We have a couple of pipeline projects. I hope that my colleagues will be able to liaise with your own colleagues, so that we know the contact people and quickly maybe pass over some of the project, the pipeline project that we have to you, and see how we can commence the relationship. We have to thank you so much for your time, and also commend you for the good job that you are doing in Infrastructure Bank. Thank you very much.